I know a lot of y'all think I'm stupid or unlearned or whatever. That's fine. Here's my thing. I understand why men gravitate to the Hebrew Israelite doctrine, because for a lot of them, it's like, yeah, one more reason why I'm not just better than white folks and Asians, I'm also better than women. But for women to join these groups, I don't understand. I don't know if y'all been paying attention, but let's not forget the stories of people like Joy Morgan. She was a part of a camp. Now, I know a lot of y'all aren't in camps. I'm not saying that all Hebrew Israelites are in a camp, even though it seems like y'all think that if I say Hebrew Israelite, that automatically means camp. But anyway, that's another whole conversation. Joy Morgan was a young girl in a camp, and she was unalived by someone in her camp. Well, that's just one of many stories. I mean, you got the guy that was in New Jersey, him and his girlfriend that unalived those people at that Jewish store. Then you got the dude in Arizona who unalived his own, was it wife or girlfriend and two of his own kids and somebody in the camp? Am I saying that all Hebrew Israelites or people who identify as Israelites or whatever, are they all violent? No, not at all. But what I am saying is that women who are in these groups, beware, because it can be very dangerous. Remember the guy that got his two teenage daughters into the Hebrew Israelite cult and they ended up starving to death, all three of them? This is one of the many reasons why cults are dangerous. Whenever you veer away from the true gospel, which is the message of reconciliation through Jesus Christ and him crucified and him resurrected, whenever you veer from that, you get off into some weird, dangerous teachings and someone usually gets hurt, whether it's physically hurt or spiritually hurt. Because I mean, ultimately, we're all going to leave this earth and we're going to have to give an account to God for our lives. And if you abandon the true gospel for this fake Hebrew Israelite gospel, that's going to be a problem. One reason I do these videos and will continue to do these videos is because I know for every 1,000 people that calls me an idiot, stupid, dumb, unlearned, whatever, bedwench, yeah, that too. It really shows the fruit of the spirit, right? When y'all call me a bedwench. But for all 1,000 of those folks, there's going to be at least one or two people who says, you know what, she's right. Let me go look at the scriptures and see if in context she's interpreting them right. Here's how people get sucked into Hebrew Israelism. For one, it's their pride. For two, is that someone points out a select amount of verses that seem to say, see, God has chosen black people. Those are the descendants of the slave trade. You are God's chosen people. And then you grab some pseudo facts from here or some book like Babylon, From Babylon to Timbuktu, and listen to a Stephen Darby sermon and you think you've somehow figured out the Bible. So y'all can keep roasting me in the comments or making response videos. That's fine. Being hated for your faith is actually a good thing.
All praise to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Double honor to the apostles and the elders of GMS. Shalom to the hopefully elect. All right, this video is going to be a response to women beware of Hebrew Israelite doctrine. All right, women beware of Hebrew Israelite doctrine. So what I'm seeing now in these things, obviously there's some kind of pattern or some type of meeting online where these Christians and these different gainsayers get together, because you hear them make these videos and they all of a sudden they start to talk and use some of the same words. For example, a few weeks back, there was a few videos came out where people were saying we worship in our skin color, or that is spiritual, what do they call it? Ethnic idolatry was another phrase I heard used a couple of times. Another phrase I heard being used more than once by more than one scoffer was that you guys are cosplay, which is a compound word, which is cos is short for costume, and play, you know, putting it together with that. Cosplay is when you pretend to be something that you're not, or you get dressed in a, you know, Comic-Con type of shit, put on costumes of your favorite characters, that type of stuff, and you go to a convention. So I heard a lot of these Christians using that. Now suddenly I'm seeing the Christians seeming to attack the women, the sisters. There was one lady last week we did the video about, she was talking about, you women got your head wrapped, you know, you let these men get in your mind, making you feel like you're incompetent or you're beneath men. Now this woman comes back, she's got a video entitled Women Beware of Hebrew Israelite Doctrine, right? And then I got another video that I'm going to work on a little later. This woman here is talking about men using the women in you know, the Hebrew Israelite circles and whatnot. So Lord will now get a chance to, you know, attack that. Anyway, in this video, this woman And she's, you know, we know who she is. Titus Jones. Titus Jones is her name. Yeah, you can see it down at the bottom. Miss Titus Jones. And she runs with Vocab Malone. She's one of them. So she wants to appeal to emotion, like they try to accuse us of doing it. And for a while, Vocab Malone was using that. You know, you using the curses as an appeal to emotion because of what happened to you. And a lot of them Christians use that. You guys are trying to appeal to the emotions of black people because you know what they've been through and all of that. So now they're attacking the women, the faith of the women, as I brought out before. Just like I said earlier in the week or last week, there was this woman right here doing the video about Hebrew Israelite women, please listen. So now this week the thing is, women beware of Hebrew Israelite doctrine. See, so these things come in patterns, and they're obviously talking amongst themselves, and they're trying to come up with different ways to attack your faith. So you women out there, yeah, beware, but you don't have to listen to what we say. Read the scriptures. The order is in the scriptures. So this woman went in, she started talking about Joy Morgan being unalived, right? The two young girls that was, their dad was a Hebrew Israelite, and they wound up all starving to death. And, you know, she used other examples too, you know, women being unalived, this, you know. But I got to tell you, if you're a Christian, you should never go into that, because you have a thing known as Christian terrorism. And the Christian faith has no room to point fingers at anybody else when it comes to shedding blood. Christopher Columbus came over here with the cross, okay? He came over here pushing that. And what did they do? They did a lot of butchery, slaughter, murder, killing, rape, and a lot of you got whole crusades. You need to go back no further than the crusades. Those were holy wars, but they was trying to spread Christianity. If we look up that term crusades, what were crusades? See, these fucking Christians are a bunch of goddamn hypocrites, man. The Crusades were a series of religious wars initiated, supported, and at times directed by the papacy during the Middle Ages. And what is the papacy? That's where you get, your Pope. It's some Roman Catholic shit. The most prominent of these were the campaigns to the Holy Land, aimed at reclaiming Jerusalem and its surrounding territories from Muslim rule. And that ain't all they was doing. They was trying to spread Christianity. You see that? So again, it says the Crusades were a series of religious wars initiated, supported, and at times directed by the papacy during the Middle Ages. Now, when something is initiated, it's started by. Initiated, a small group of people who share obscure knowledge, begin, introduce, to cause or facilitate the beginning of, set going, to induct into membership by or as if by. See? So when it said that these crusades were initiated by the Roman Catholic Church, they started religious wars. Now, if you look up Christian terrorism, a form of religious terrorism refers to terrorist acts, which are committed by groups or individuals who profess Christian motivations or goals. Christian terrorists justify their violent tactics through their interpretation of the Bible and Christianity, in accordance with their own objectives and worldview. Christian terrorism can be committed against members of other Christian denominations, adherents of other religions, secular governments, groups of individuals, or society as a whole. Christianity can also be cynically misused as a rhetorical device to achieve political or military goals by terrorists. Christian terrorist groups include paramilitary organizations, cults, and loose groups of people that might come together in order to attempt to terrorize other groups. Some groups also encourage unaffiliated individuals to commit terrorist acts. The paramilitary groups are typically tied to ethnic and political goals as well as religious goals, and many of these groups have religious beliefs which are at odds with the religious beliefs of conventional Christianity. Yeah, many of them, but they're nonetheless still Christians. If you go to a list of Rampage killers, religious, political, or ethnic crimes, this list of mass or spree killers that were considered by reliable sources to have been motivated by political or religious causes. A mass murderer is typically defined as someone who kills 3 or more people in one incident with no cooling off period, not including themselves. Now, she went on to use Francine Graham and that other dude up in Jersey that did what they did, right? So she tell you about 5 or 6 different incidents where the people may have been affiliated with Hebrew Israelites at one time, right? But that didn't mean they was in the camp. None of them were, well, maybe one or two of them was in camps or whatever. The Joy Morgan situation, but that's an individual thing. Notice this bug out, this weirdo right here, man, with these fucking 2 graven image earrings, 2 red crosses on her earlobe. Look, she's a bug out. A complete damn bug out. And as a matter of fact, here's a bug out image. Look at this. And I got this from her own video. Look at this bugged out chick, man. See, you people don't have no idea what you're really saying. So if we go into this list, it gives Rampage killers, and then it gives the perpetrator and the year and what they did, right? How many people they killed or injured. So we go here, look at this one. Number 2, Timothy James McVeigh and Lynn Terry Nichols. Or however you say it. See? Terry Lynn Nichols, excuse me. They were 1995, April 19th, Oklahoma City. And they injured over 680 people. If you go here, it says Timothy McVeigh was an American domestic terrorist who masterminded and perpetrated the Oklahoma City bombing. And this dude was a professing Christian, okay? I ain't gonna go all the way into it. You can look it up. Everybody knows about this, though. A Gulf War veteran, McVeigh became radicalized by anti-government beliefs. But he was a Christian. Make no mistake about it. See that? They don't ever bring shit like this up. So he killed 180. The bombing itself killed 167 people, including 19 children, injured 684. And then you also had that dude his co-conspirator. Most of these on here are Muslim, but you can find some that are Christian. Patrick Crucius Wood, 2019 El Paso Walmart shooting, shot 45 people, killing 23. See, some of these people, they all, if you white in America, you had Christian beliefs. So you can just go through a list like this, and it's got all kinds. And see, what they try to do is, if a person is a Christian, they try to hide it. This was Robert, what's this dude's name? Robert Gregory Bowers, 46. It says, a right-wing extremist attack, October 27, 2018, a right-wing extremist attack, Tree of Life, or El Simcha Congregation Synagogue in the Squirrel Hill neighborhood of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The perpetrator killed 11 people and wounded 6 in the deadliest attack on a local, you see it, J-ish community in American history. See that? So the dude, he wound up getting killed too. He was an anti-Semitic dude, a white dude, but he was a Christian. Peyton Gendron. On May 14, 2022, a mass shooting occurred in Buffalo, New York, United States, at a Tops Friendly Market supermarket in the East Side neighborhood. 10 people, all of whom were black, were murdered, and 3, one of whom was black, were injured. The shooter, identified as 18-year-old Peyton S. Gendron, live streamed part of the attack on Twitch. See that? And don't forget about Dylan Roof. Dylan Roof right here. David Sunbali. Dylan Roof. American mass murderer, white supremacist, neo-Nazi who perpetrated the Charleston church shooting during a Bible study in June 17, 2015. Roof killed 9 people, all African Americans. See that? So he shot up a bunch of people. And this dude was you see him, a bug out and a damn weirdo, a freak. See? So you got all kind of murders that were committed by Christians, man. And like I said, you can go all the way back in history about these damn Christians. So Titus Jones, you need to worry about your own self. They're bringing up these various crimes that have committed. And look, at the end of the day, if somebody that's a Hebrew Israelite committed crime, they should be punished by the full extent of the law. Really, at the end of the day, if the scriptures tell you that if anybody commit murder, right, thou shalt not murder. But if any man shed man's blood, by man shall his blood be shed. So it's unanimous. But just pay attention to these sneaky bitch ass Christians trying to find ways to shake your faith. Shit, murders happen, crimes happen. They happen because of demons. This is Matthew 7:1. Judge not that ye be not judged. For with what judgment ye judge, ye shall be judged. And with what measure ye met, it shall be measured to you again. See, so you Christians, you talk a lot of shit. And you try to make out like Hebrew Israelites this violent thing. Hey, Christianity got a long trail of blood. You'll be fucking drunk with blood if you follow Christianity. I mean, there's all kind of abominable works. Like I brought up the Crusades. That shit with Christopher Columbus, what the white settlers did when they so-called white came over here, well, all that what you did with the so-called Native Americans, and that was all in the name of Christianity. So don't try to talk shit. You know, don't try to talk shit, because we could never fill up the amount of blood you shed. Verse 3, and why beholdest thou the mote that is in thy brother's eye, but considerest not the beam that is in thine own eye? Or how wilt thou say to thy brother, let me pull out the mote out of thine eye, and behold, a beam is in thine eye, in thine own eye? Thou hypocrite, first cast out the beam out of thine own eye, and then shalt thou see clearly to cast out the mote out of thy brother's eye. And that's plain, man. That is plain. You damn Christians, they got no room to talk about no violence or none of that. And we been brought this up. You done so much wickedness and violence in the earth to the point where, shit, man, I can't believe you have the nerve to try to bring up that. That's a point you can't win on that point, Christians. This is and we'll read this from the NLT. This is gonna be Luke chapter 6 and 41. And why worry about a speck in your friend's eye when you have a big log in your own? How can you think of saying, friend, let me help you get rid of that speck in your eye, when you can't see past the log in your own eye? Hypocrite, first get rid of the log in your own eye. Then you will see well enough to deal with the speck in your friend's eye. And these Christians are a bunch of hypocrites. Big time hypocrites. Okay? And even if some of the people on that list, which I'm sure not every one of them probably professed they was Christians, but they was raised as Christians, it's only one real religion, or the main religion that most people in this country gonna be a part of, especially white people. You gonna say you Christians. You was raised as Christians. The only thing that pumped in your mind your whole life is Christianity. So don't dare try to say, anything negative towards us, man. You people are, man, that's your heritage. You came in shedding blood. Like we talked about, you damn settlers and all that shit y'all been doing since you've been over here. All you've been doing is shedding blood, you punk ass Christians. So don't let these people get in your head, because that's all they're trying to do. And look, at the end of the day, the Lord don't deal with murderers. Let's go there. Revelation 21:7. If you commit murder, the Lord said thou shalt not commit murder. You don't supposed to lift your hand up to be doing violence to nobody. So those that commit violence and violent acts, the Lord ain't with them, and they ain't part of the truth. They may identify themselves as Hebrew Israelites, but they ain't part of the truth. They just, wretched, abominable sinners who was running game. Revelation 21:7. He that overcometh shall inherit all things, and I will be his God. And I will be his God, and he shall be my son. But the fearful and unbelieving and the abominable and murderers and whoremongers and sorcerers and idolaters and all liars shall have their part in the lake which burneth with fire and brimstone, which is the second death. So it's plain right there. Now, people you Christians in the meantime, you ain't got nothing to say towards us. You need to sweep around your own front door first. You need to go back and get rid of all that millions and billions of quarters and drops of blood your ass spilled, and then you can talk shit to us. Until then, you ain't got nothing to say. So you women, be strong. You sisters out there that's Israelites, don't let these demons in your mind, because at the end of the day, they're going to try to get you to fall out the truth. You see, they think they're doing something. Now they was attacking us. Now they're trying to attack y'all. Your faith, they're attacking us all, but they're trying to get at us through the women. And you Israelite women that fall for it, good. Bye. Get the hell on. We don't need you. But that's it. We'll see you soon, Lord willing. All praise to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Shalom.